pinky ring base middle index. Pinky ring middle index. Okay. So I have here a script that's going to create my hand controls for me. At least all my major, well, yeah, it'll create them for me. And all I have to do is select my controller, which is going to be this. And I don't have this as a global procedure. Command, execute, and it creates them all for me. What I will do is take a screenshot of this and print it out for you so you can use it which ones you need to have. Does everybody understand that? But we've gone through multiple times how to create these, and it's because I got a lot to show you, I'm not going to go through and do each individual one. Now, we have this here that's going to control our hands. Let's take care of our setting up our IK first, and then we'll go and do our hand, because the IK is not going to take very much time. So what I'm going to do, let's hide this right now. And one of the first things that I want to do is set my preferred angle. So I'm going to rotate these joints towards, kind of bending the elbow this way. And what I want to do is right click, select preferred angle, set preferred angle, and set preferred angle on those three joints. Now, what we're going to do is if we go to skeleton, we should have create IK handle. Or in our rigging, this thing right here, create IK handle. I'm going to click on the shoulder. And then what I'm going to click on is my forearm joint. And we do have a slight problem here. Okay, so if I do this to here, you can see that what happens to my skeleton? It jumps forward, right? And the reason that is because now all of these rotations are being solved by my IK. So what I'm going to do is do a quick fix. And really with IKs, you can have a straight arm. It's not optimal. And what I'm going to do is give my arm a little bit of a bend. So this is what we're going to do. I need to bring back up my geometry. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to use our move skin joints tool, and I'm going to move these back, and I'll move this back some, so I start to create an angle for my arm, and I'll move the shoulder forward a little bit. Try it again. Alright, it still shifted it forward some. I'm going to kind of roll with it. And I also want to click on it. And right now, this is an IKSC solver, and I need to change this to an RP solver. Now, SC stands for single chain, RP stands for rotation plane. Now I'm going to double click on this, and you see here where it says single chain, I'm going to change it to rotation plane. And I'm going to hide my geometry. So right now what I'm doing is I'm compensating. Well, I'm not compensating yet. So this is our IK. We're never actually going to animate this. We're going to create a controller to control it, but we're never going to control it by ourselves because that will be bad. So what I'm going to do instead is this. I'm going to go to my hypergraph hierarchy, and if you look here in the hypergraph, you have this thing called an effector. What we're going to do is move the insert point of the effector to my wrist here. So we're going to go insert point, insert mode. I'm not selecting this like this. Hit insert and then snap it to the wrist. And next up, I'm going to cheat a little bit. You see how I have my locator for my wrist? I still have that. I'm going to use it to cheat to get the arm back into position. So I'm going to select my IK handle, hold down the V key, and it did not like that at all. I have to take a step back. Let's do it again. Rotation plane, sticky, go here, go to the forearm, oops, oh my gosh, come on, get it together, let's do it again. We're going to look for the effector. Insert point, go here. Now we're going to select that. Let's show these. I'm not going to snap it this time. I'm just going to move it to there. Not optimal, but okay, actually, it's not going to matter, and I'll explain why in a second. And I'm actually going to fix this as well, too. There we go. So it's turned in on itself. So what I'm going to do is go select the IK handle. We have our pole vector here. If I zero out the pole vector, it's backwards, the arm is inversed. But what I should be able to do is affect the twist. Okay, does not like that at all. So I'm going to do a workaround. And let's see if that works. Alright. Switch this back to single chain. Go from here to here. Cool. Here. Let's not there. Let's find the effector again. Slightly unforeseen, but I'm going to work through it so you can see me working through it. And I think what's happening is, by me moving it, is getting a little bit squirrely. And that's just a technical term for it's doing something I haven't seen before. So then I'm just going to cheat of sorts. It shifted it down there. I don't like that. You may or may not get it. If I was really smart, I'd probably go back to before I set the preferred angle, move it, and then do it. So, for instance, this is probably what I would do. And then it does it again. And there we go. That's what I should have done. I just didn't want to go back, and I thought I could work through it. Did everybody see that? Yeah. Okay, cool. You're like, get on with it. Understandably. So effector, here. We're going to snap that. There we go. Let's do this.
So we should try moving our joints before we make the weight, so that way when we do the IK, it doesn't mess around like that?
Yes.
Okay.
And then also, don't set the preferred angle.
So don't?
Don't. Go ahead and put the bend in. You only really need to set the preferred angle if you don't have a bend. And sometimes it works. Sometimes you get a miscalculation. Don't set it. Yeah. Cool. Alright, let's name this stuff again. All right. And I did it again. There we go. And I need to delete my history on one of these. All right. So now that we have our pole vector, I'm going to hide my geometry again. And this locator group, let's turn that off. What we're going to do is, to start off with, we're going to do a point constraint from this to the IK handle, and that's going to allow us to move it. So I'm going to select my wrist con. I'm going to select my pole vector, my IK handle. And remember, at this point, your IK should be a RP solver, which stands for rotation plane. And we're going to do a point constraint. Maintain offset. Point constraint is just translation. So now, wherever I move this, it should move with it. Let's try that one more time. Like this. And I think I did an orient constraint. Let me go back to point constraint. There we go. Okay, it's working. I did an orient constraint by accident. Alright, so it moves with it. Now, let's do our pole vector. We're going to select our pole vector control, your IK handle, and we're going to do a pole vector constraint. There's nothing to select in it. It's no options outside of weight, and we're just going to hit add.
So what kind of constraint?
Constrain, pole vector. Now, when I move my pole vector, it moves the arm. That's your elbow control. This is going to control all of the rotations everywhere else for it. That's the way that it works. Alright, let's go ahead and set up our forearm. So here, you know, you have your X for your forearm. And we want to control that. We can also have another forearm in here, but I'm not going to do that this time. Now, the way that it works is the last joint in the joint chain for a IK solver is not being solved, its rotations are not being controlled. All the other joints are. The difference between FK and IK means IK moves from the child to the parent. The child controls the movement of the parent, or the lowest joint in the chain that's being solved for controls all the rotations going up, compared to forward kinematics, which all the rotations from the parent to child works its way down. That's the difference between the two. Do you understand that? At least conceptually. All right. Let's set up our forearm. So I'm going to set this, and then this, and let's use our connection editor. So Windows, General Editors, Connection Editor, and I want, in this case, we want rotate X. And then let's select our forearm joint. So rotate X to rotate X. And it's inverse. So now you know what we're going to do for this. I'm going to go here to Windows, Hypergraph Connections. We have our wrist con, that's our rotate X, that's our forearm joint. We've already done this before. So what we're going to do is go to our rendering, create render node. We want a multiply and divide node. I'm going to select that, delete it, right click. We want rotate X. I'm sorry, left click and put 1X. Click on the end, right click, output X. Left click, rotate X. And then we're going to put in for 2X, negative 1. And it rotates the same way. Now, let's set up our fingers. Now, let me go. I'm going to use my script again. Have this here. Make sure I have my control select. Execute. And then these are all the ones. This should pinky, ring, middle, index, and thumb. And I'm only going to set up one, and then you're going to have to set up the rest of them. But we're going to set these up using set driven keys and this, which you've already done set driven keys. So let's do it. Let's set up this one first. So we're going to go Windows, key, set key, option box. And it's not right there. Sorry. Stop. Set driven key, set. And what we want, our driven is going to be this first joint, and we're going to do one joint at a time. Let's load in our driver, which is our control here. So which finger is this?
Index finger.
This is your index. So we got our index, base, mid, and tip. And then this index Y is rotating the finger along the Y value. So, yes,
What's the driver?
the driver is your hand controller. In this case, we're going to start off with index base. Now, if I rotate this along the Z value, that's where for most of these are going to be on unless your orientation is different than mine. So we're going to do rotate Z. We're going to key this at 0, 0 for the control, index, and then 0 for the rotation. And let me select both of them, base. And we're going to key it. Now, for these, I have a max and a min. Actually, I thought I had a max and a min, but we're going to set our max at negative 10. And the min will be, I'm sorry, the min will be negative 10 and the max will be 10. I didn't set up my max and min on these controls. And if here, if this is negative 10, I'm always thinking about this. Negative is always the way it's not, where it's not really designed to bend until it gets to a hyperextension. Positive is its natural bend. Does everyone understand that? Hyperextension negative, natural positive. That's the way I look at it. So what we're going to do is negative 10, and I am going to rotate this up. Maybe let's say let's go up to 70 degrees. You can even go as high as 90, so that you have a little bit of an extreme there. This is going to be set to -10. This is set to 90. We key it. And then I'm going to do 10. And we're going to rotate it so it looks like it's bending. Maybe even a little bit of an overshoot, just so you have a little bit more to play with. 100. And we'll key that. Let's do it again. Now for the mid, it's the same thing. I'm going to set my mid. We're going to load this in as our driven. Rotate Z, 0, 0. We key it. I'm going to set this to -10. And then we went, let's say we do 90 again. Obviously the finger is broken at that point, but you at least have the ability to do an extreme. And we key it. And we do 10. And let's say we go and do -100. And we key it. And then we can do a quick test. Alright, and for this one, same thing. This is our tip. We need to load this in as our driven. Tip. Key it. We'll do -10 first. 90. And then we'll do 10. -100. And we key it. And then we do a quick test. Now, Y is going to be a little bit different. That's going to allow us to do this. Does everybody see that? So Y, we're going to load back the base back in as our driven. And Y to Y, we'll key it at 0. Once again, for my finger going Y, if it goes out, I consider that positive. If it goes in, I consider that negative. So let's do positive. And let's say we rotate this 60 degrees. Then we come back here, we go negative. And then let's say that goes in -30 degrees. And then let's do this. Channel control. Not channel control. Edit attribute. For each one of these, I want to max and a min. I did not do that. Hold up. So my index base, I want to max them in. I didn't put that in the script. -10, max 10. So when you set this up, make sure you have those in there. And it's going to be like that for all your controls on your hand. All right. Let's very quickly do one more.